What's good, guys? It's YSD24 here, back with a new series for you guys. Thank you guys for finding your way to my channel. I got a new series today called Wise Decks. We're going to profile my personal decks. I'm going to talk about some meta cards. I'm going to show you guys examples on how to use these cards in the little window. So today, we got the Zoroark GX, Umbreon GX deck. Those are the two stars of the deck. But first of all, we're going to get into the Pokemon in this deck. So let's crack into that. We got Energy Evolution Eevee, which is the only Eevee you should be using. When you attach an energy, you can search for a card that evolves from this Eevee that is the same type energy. So for all your Evolution GXs in any deck, you're going to want to use this Eevee. It's obviously a dark deck, so I go with Umbreon GX over here. We got Strafe as a quick move. It's not a bad choice early in the game if you want to avoid damage, because you can just hit for 30 real quick, get Umbreon back on your bench, and put out whatever, something you want to sacrifice, or something else that you might have powered up that you want to attack with. Dark Call is great for Disruption, the GX move here. So it's discard 2 energies from your opponent's Pokemon, which is awesome for Disruption, awesome to buy yourself some time. You're not always going to use this move in this deck though, because there is another GX move you gotta hang on for, but we'll get into that in a minute. Save the best for last. We got, for 3 energy, Shadow Bullet. Now, Shadow Bullet is Umbreon GX's best move, and which is what makes Umbreon GX the MVP of this deck. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, 90 damage to the active Pokemon. Now that's awesome. So if you got the choice band on, that's going to add 30 more damage for 120, which is going to 2-hit KO most things. Anything with 250 HP, which is the max HP in TCG, you won't be able to KO with that move, or 2-hit KO with that move, but you can 2-hit KO pretty much everything. And what this is going to do is the 30 damage you're doing to the bench is going to set you up for our next Pokemon on the list, Honchkrow. So, first off, I got 2 Murkrows in this deck with the Whirlwind move. Your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Very useful early in the game, but like I was saying, if you've already been doing damage with Umbreon GX, especially to the bench, then you got this Honchkrow. That's just going to kill it for you. First off, we got the Feint Attack. 1 Dark Energy does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You get to choose active Pokemon, bench Pokemon. Choice Band will also add 30 to that, but only to the active Pokemon. And then you got Raven's Claw. So once you got all those damage counters sitting on your opponent's bench, you're going to bust out this move. Attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. Now this can hit for a lot, depending on if you set it up properly and you have enough damage counters on your opponent's bench. You might be able to 1-hit KO with it. The other reason I have non-GX and EX Pokemon in here is because of that Hoopa that's going around that doesn't take damage from GX or EX, and that Alolan Ninetales that does the same thing. So you always got to keep some regular Pokemon in your deck. This Honchkrow, especially with this deck, is just a great plan. So let's move on here and we'll get into this Darkrai from Shining Legends. Amazing card, very helpful in this deck as well. It's got Hypno Blast for 2 energy. Your opponent's Pokemon is now asleep and it does 30 damage. Helpful for stalling, definitely early in the game, but this Pokemon is not something you want to play early in the game unless the GX attack has been played. For this reason, Dark Raid. 3 energy, 80 plus. If your opponent has used their GX attack, it does another 80. That's 160 for 3 energy. That's amazing. If you have the choice band on, you're hitting for 190. If you have the Fighting Fury belt, you're hitting for 170. And sometimes you do need the Fighting Fury belt with Darkrai because of the 120 HP, which is not a lot. So you do want to boost that HP up 40. Knocks your attack up 10, which is also not bad. Most things you can 1-hit or 2-hit KO with this Darkrai, or you can just put it to sleep like I was saying. Anyways, quickly, I just got the Tapu Lele in there. You guys know, drawn supporters, that's all it's really used for. Energy Drive in emergencies, 20 damage times the amount of energy. So if they got a crap load of energy attached, then absolutely use your Tapu Lele, but for the most part, you're just drawing supporters with it. Now we're going to get into the star of the show, Zoroark and Zoroark GX. So I got the Zoruas in here, I got 3 of them. We got the Mind Jack Zoroark, which does 30 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now, you're not going to want to use this if they don't have very many Pokemon on the bench. You don't want to power up something else. But that's the beauty of this deck, is so option filled. So no matter what situation, there's usually something you can try and do for it. So this Zoroark GX, yes, very strong. You can go from a Zorua to this Zoroark with a double colorless, and with a full bench for your opponent, you can hit for 150. Now you're gonna 2-hit KO most things with that, or everything with that. Nothing's gonna survive 2 hits from that if they have a full bench. But again, situational, you have to be set up properly to use it. No matter what the situation, like I was just saying, there's something you can do with this deck. And let's get on to the next card, the Rainbow Rare Zoroark GX from Shining Legends. One of my favorite pulls so far that I've had probably in the last couple of months. I was very excited when I pulled this one. So we got the ability to trade. Once during your turn before your attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. It's a great move on its own. Now you can draw out with this deck, so I don't suggest using trade or Professor Sycamores once you're down to about 20 cards. Once you have about 20 cards left though, you should be pretty set up to attack, so just kind of ride it out and don't draw too many cards, because you may draw out if they have a lot of HP kicking. The best thing you can do with this deck though, I'm going to scroll down to the trainers a little bit here. I got 3 Mallows in here. Now Mallow, you can search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck, and put those cards on top in any order. So what you do with this deck, I'm going to show you guys a little clip. You take your Mallow, you play your Mallow, take any 2 cards, put them up at the top of your deck, then you draw them with Zoroark's trade ability. So this is very useful because you can actually just pick 2 cards out of your deck and use them that turn. And that's the key. You don't have to wait until the next turn to use them, and then you can still attack after. So that's extremely useful. After that, we got Zoroark GX's Righteous Beating move. This attack does 20 damage for each of your opponents, each of your Pokemon in play. So not only benched, Zoroark counts as one. So if your bench is full, you're gonna have Zoroark hitting for 120 or 150 if he's got a choice band. It's pretty much a 2-hit KO. So still not the strongest move, but for your double colorless, you can't go wrong. But then down here we got the Trickster GX move, which this move is so much fun because you can use one of your opponent's attacks. Doesn't matter what attack, doesn't matter how much energy, you just use it. So that's where you want to get your 1-hit KOs. If they've got something really strong, even on their bench, with that attack that takes 4 or 5 energy, try to use that. If they got a really strong GX attack, then use that. You do got to choose wisely though, because of Umbreon's GX attack that you also may want to use. You only get to use 1 GX attack per game. So again, situational, but you got options. So just make sure you play this deck smart, play this Trickster GX when you're going to get a 1-hit KO with it like I just did on that Necrozma. Those are the Pokemon in this deck. I'm going to scroll through the trainers really quick and just talk about the ones that I think are awesome. I got Counter Catcher. You can switch the opponent's Pokemon if you have less prize cards, so you can't always play that, but you do need cards to discard for Zoroark in this deck, so there are some extra cards for that. That's also what I use Talonflame for if he doesn't come out first. Got the Energy Lotto. Oh. We got the Energy Lotto that I need to take one out of because I just added one. We'll do that after. Energy Retrieval. Enhanced Hammer for knocking off special energy. So we got the Evo Soda. So basically we got just a bunch of trainer cards like Max Elixir here to search for energies, sort out your situations, get your Pokemon evolved, powered up, all that kind of stuff. We got the 3 Mallows, Sycamores, the Ends, just a pretty basic trainer set. Got 3 Choice Bands, 2 Fighting Fury Belts, 2 Float Stones, and I got a Poison Barb in here just in case. You might switch that for something else later on, but I do like to use those just because the extra damage is nice. I got 3 Double Colorless and 8 Dark Energy in this deck. So the energy is not too hard to find because of all the trainer cards I got in here, like Professor's Letter and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck. That's how it works. Go build this deck, guys. It's awesome. It's just very adaptable to any situation. The only thing I really consistently lose against is Gardevoir GX and Metagross. So if you come up against those, I have beat them both, just barely ever. So you can win, but those decks are gonna give you a hard time. So if you guys want to build this deck, I'll scroll down here and just give you a chance to screenshot right here and then screenshot right here. and you guys can go build this deck. I love it. Thank you for watching this episode of Wise Decks, the first episode. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And until next time, guys, take it easy.